Hey, everybody. Welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored, super excited to be here with Dom Tidey, the Chief Operating Officer at EuRA. Dom, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Ben, I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm really excited. I'm a newcomer to this show, but I have to say I've been going back through your broadcasts. I love your energy and your enthusiasm, and I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Well, thanks for being here. And I got to tell you, I've been looking forward to talking to you for months now since we've been planning to go to the EuRA Conference. EuRA has been, I got to admit something to you, Dom. I don't think I've told you this before. EuRA has been a kind of almost like a bucket list event for me in my mobility career. You know, as a US-based service partner for so many years, I always wanted the opportunity to go to Europe, and you have such amazing, fantastic locations always. I've heard nothing but incredible things about the community and the places and the program. So I am brimming with enthusiasm right now about going at the end of this month.
Well, we're really, really pleased that you can make it. I really hope that we will exceed your expectations and not let you down.
It's gonna be hard because they're up here, because everything I've heard has just been incredible. I want to know what you think. If you're watching out there right now, let's hear from our guests here that are chiming in with us here. People that are watching, get in the comments right now. Hit that like button. Yes, we're on at a special time because we were talking to Dom over there in across the pond. Dom from across the pond. Get in the comments. So hit that like button. I want to know, what are your thoughts about EuRA? Have you been to EuRA? What has been your experience? Put it in there. What is your favorite part about EuRA? I want to know all that as a future first-time attendee. This is awesome. We got people checking in here. Where in the world are you, Dom?
I am just outside Cambridge in the UK. So about 45 minutes, really right in the countryside, it has to be said. Our offices used to be pretty close to here, but we closed them at the beginning of COVID. We all moved to work from home. So now I work in this study, and Tad, who's my partner in life and in EuRA, works in the study just up the hall. So we shout.
So you still have like an office environment. You could still kind of knock on, like, hey, you got time to brainstorm something? You can you can yell at him when the coffee pot's not cleaned and refreshed. I mean, you still have a bit of an office environment going on.
Yes, we do. Yeah, it's important. This is so many nice comments. Richard's just saying Ben's the biz connected to so many in our sector, and that's so true, Ben. You really kept everybody together.
Well, thank you very much. And it's fun to really spread my wings and get to reach across the pond and get to connect with so many people over there. And I just saw Richard last week when I was over in London. Richard, it was phenomenal seeing you. Shout out to you and your wonderful wife, Sabine. Thank you for always being a great supporter. You know, Richard's so looking forward to the show. And Richard, it's at a decent hour, for goodness sakes, too, Richard. This one's for you, buddy. Richard always has to make a decision between his dinner and Love and Relo, so I'm happy you didn't have to choose today. Robert Fletcher, hearts from hearts. Awesome. Hit that like button right now. Send a heart. Send a heart out there to near Cambridge there to Dom. Jana Chazanowski, hello from Rio, counting down the days to EuRA.
Really looking forward to welcoming you.
Jana, what are you looking forward to? I want to know. Put it in there. I want to know what everybody's looking forward to. Dom, oh, look, and there's Tad chiming in. I am watching.
I am watching. Yeah, I've got to be careful now.
Very good. Very good. This is great. Richard's saying, Dom, I'm a little worried there won't be any beer left in Seville after Rangers and Frankfurt have finished.
I had the same concern this morning. Don't worry. I arrive on Monday. I will be sure the bar is stocked.
It's very good.
Key ingredients of a EuRA conference.
This is a top-down priority, it looks like, at EuRA. So this is great. Phenomenal. Okay, Dom, I got to ask. I just want to hop in. What do I have to look forward to my first EuRA conference?
Well, I think probably I would say the biggest thing is meeting the EuRA people, the EuRA family. We've used this phrase, the EuRA family, for many years. Our conference host, Francis Edmonds, kind of coined that about 10 years ago. And it really, I mean, obviously for me, the EuRA Conference is incredibly special because it's, you know, it's one of the highlights of our professional years as a team. But the people of EuRA are amazing. I mean, the loyalty that they've shown over the past 2 years, these are people who've held onto these conference places since 2019 when they bought them. So, you know, we have an amazing group of people. And I think that's what you're going to enjoy the most. But apart from that, we also try and build in, it's a very social conference. So we try and make sure that there are really interesting social events. We try and build in as much networking as possible, because I think one thing you'll find, we have a really packed program of fantastic content. And again, big shout out to everybody who's been working on that and all our moderators. But people are there for meetings. So we really try and build in as much time as possible so that you can still do meetings, can still go to the brilliant program.
That's a really tough thing, and I want to ask you about that, because I've planned some events before, planned the IAM meeting, planned some regional stuff. And so how do you prioritize and cast the right balance between education, socializing, obviously meeting time, because this is a very much about partnerships and supply chain management and things. What's your philosophical idea there?
That is such a good question. And it's a question that we kind of try and answer every year as we're putting the program together. I guess one thing that's really shifted from the start of this event is it used to just be like a dinner and a day. And gradually it's worked to be virtually a whole week. So a lot of people now, from the point of view of trying to balance that thing between the education, the networking, and doing business at the conference as well, is coming in earlier. So the conference really, although we don't kick off formally until Wednesday morning, it does begin on Tuesday. A lot of people come in on Monday. I think probably what most people do, and we survey everybody after the event to try and find out, what can we do to make sure you can get the most out of it. And what people tend to tell us is, please, really use the app, because the conference has got so big. It's great to be able to go in and go, okay, that's a really important session for me. I'm really wanting to learn more about sustainability, or one of the really important sessions for me is going to be working in supply chain with RMCs. So crossing out, this is what I really have to go to, and then doing that in advance, and then using the app to make your meetings with the other 700 delegates to try and figure out what they're going to as well, because that does become the challenge. You go to a great session, then you realize, oh my goodness, I've got a 10:30, you need to leave, you need to grab coffee. So the gala dinner, so the welcome reception on Wednesday, that's a great networking opportunity. And for anybody who's a first timer, we also do a newcomers thing, which is just before that. Come and have a glass of champagne and meet everybody. Those are key. Just hang out by the pool, chat with people you don't know. Try and find somebody that you do know. You can always come and find me. I'll try and introduce you to anybody that you need to find. But it's that balance between, I have 12 hours meetings on Thursday. Great, I'm now going to the gala dinner. So I've got 5 hours to chill and meet and, do stuff. There's no seating plan. People can sit where they want. So that, again, it gives the opportunity for people to really chill out. And then Friday night, the party, business is done. By Friday, people are pretty chilled by the Friday night party. And that's a really lovely atmosphere, because again, the business is done. Hopefully, you've made some great new friends, you've networked, you've been able to do some really good business networking and get yourself established. And by Friday evening, everybody just kind of takes a sigh of relief and drinks some beer and dances the night away.
That sounds phenomenal. I've got so many questions right here. We've got people checking in. We are talking to Dom Tidey, the Chief Operating Officer at EuRA right now. We are previewing the upcoming EuRA Conference, which is only, feels like, what, 2 weeks away?
2 weeks away.
Oh my gosh, maybe not even. I'm going to be getting in, I think, on the 18th or the 28th, I think, is when I depart for
so you come in on
Seville.
Sunday? Yeah, great.
Is that a good idea to come in early?
Yeah, it is. And weirdly for this one, people don't normally come in massively early, but there's a lot of people coming in the weekend before. I've just been speaking to a few people who are coming in on the Friday, and I guess that's partly because we've not seen each other in 3 years. So any opportunity to kind of get together, and also Seville is a great draw for a lot of people. If people who haven't been to Seville before, it's one of those cities you kind of think, it is a place I'd really like to go. And I think, again, from that point of view of utilizing your time during the business week of the conference, being able to come in on the weekend and at least have a stroll around the old city and get a feel for the place is something that, this time has happened. Doesn't always happen. It depends very much where we are. But certainly a city like Seville, people are very keen.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We have comments coming in. I want to see your comments in here right now. If you're watching, what are you looking forward to? What would you like to see? I want your thoughts. I'm going to be the new guy this year, so I can't wait to hear some advice here. Dino checking in. Ben and Dom, the Persuaders. Ciao from Italy.
Really looking forward.
Fantastic. And Tad's teasing with many surprises forthcoming.
There are. This is true.
This is great. This is great. People, Jacqueline Biersma, looking forward to a live broadcast, Ben. I want to do some live broadcasts. Do you think that would be cool? Can I do that, Dom?
Absolutely. We will set that up for you. We can either set you aside in a conference room, or if you want to be by the pool, for sure.
I think we need like a high traffic area. We can I got some decent microphones over here, right? I don't know how they sound. I think they're paid good money.
Great.
So I think we could get some nice, maybe just get some people passing through and just give people a sense of the energy, because all I'm hearing is it's the EuRA family, the community. I think there's a lot of questions, like when people over here in the U.S. I know you have a good U.S. Contingent, but there's so many people over here that haven't been yet, like myself, and I'm really excited to get to introduce some new people to it. Tell us a little bit about the demographic for EuRA. How many folks go? Where are they from? What are their job functions? How would you describe it?
So the conference is very much, I would say probably 70 to 75% owner managers of companies. That's our primary demographic. So, I mean, one thing that was quite interesting, talking to our colleagues in other organizations and associations who run events, that was one thing that was very fortuitous for us, that those are the people who are in charge of their spend. So over the pandemic, when other organizations are having to make out big refunds to people, we didn't have to do that. So owner managers of destination service providers. EuRA is very much a provider association. We're not a corporate association. So of the 700 people who come, good question from Richard, I would say probably 250 now come from outside Europe. But that's very interesting in itself, because we have a very large contingent from North, Central and South America. A very large contingent of our members in India will come, and a large cohort from Asia as well. And we were concerned this year about the travel restrictions still being in place and how that would impact on that demographic, because it is what's been such a joy about my journey through EuRA has been seeing the organization grow from EuRA, which used to be called the European Relocation Association, into just EuRA, because it's so much more global than it used to be. So I know that there are challenges for a lot of people at this time. The travel restrictions are still in place to a greater or a lesser degree, depending on where you're coming from. So for our European members this year, it is very easy. There are no restrictions whatsoever in place. So yeah, I would say probably 350 to 400 of our members are coming from Europe. And they come from, sorry, more than that, 450, I beg your pardon. And if you look at then the breakdown of the industry sectors that they represent, I do actually have those, because I should have looked them up before the interview, I apologize. I would say more than 60% would be from destination service provider companies. Then all of the relocation management companies are represented. Some come in great numbers, others come in more smaller numbers. We have a very large contingent now coming from the immigration and legal community. And we have a very large contingent now coming from corporate housing. That's really grown over the last 3 years.
Yeah, it seems like more than just DSPs now. It seems like it's really grown, and a lot of people are finding value in this association, in this conference now. And I mean, we're going over. Glomo is going to be there. We're going to have 2 people there, Jana Chezanowski and myself. Right, super excited, as I've said 8 million times on this show alone, to be there. We're in the recruitment and consulting space. But you see people, DSPs, but you see, do you have household goods providers?
We do. Yes. I'm sorry. I should have said that. We do have household goods providers. Interestingly, the Tidey conference was recently in Cannes as well. So there's quite a lot of contingent from Tidey will come. We have, and I think really, unfortunately, this year we are clashing. We do a global conference as well, which this year is going to be in Costa Rica, but I think it's exactly the same week as IAM, which is a real shame because we try to make sure we don't do that so that household goods can absolutely be represented at EuRA.
Yeah. I think I am. This is November 2nd through the 5th. Is that when your Costa Rican conference
I
is?
really wanted to go.
Yeah, which is later than normal, right? It's normally in
Yeah.
October, and normally over the years, you kind of get used to everybody does their thing at like the same time. So then you where you're going with it. Tell me about the evolution, though. This is and really quick before we get into the evolution here, I got some shout outs I want to give here. Hit that like button, send some love out there to Dom, Heather Jameson checking in from Michigan. That's awesome. She's saying yes to a live broadcast. Yes, Heather, we will definitely do that. I can't wait to really showcase the amazing constituency. Kurt checking in from a train in the Ukraine. Wow.
Hi, Kurt. How are you?
Much love, Kurt, out there. Yeah, stay safe, Kurt. Dino's loving the idea of a live broadcast. Definitely. Dino, what topics would you like to see? What would you like to see out of a live broadcast? I'd love to know. We're gonna sketch that together soon. Louise Neal checking in from the UK. Louise is saying such an amazing conference with such diversity sectors that support the mobility, household goods, immigration, and now technology space. Really looking forward to it. So awesome. Kurt saying consider a fundraiser for the World Central Kitchen. Great group doing fantastic work here.
I just put that down on my pad. Thank you, Kurt.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Kurt. I want to talk a little bit about how EuRA started. I'm fascinated by this. I mean, it's set so much momentum. People are so excited about it. Was it always this big and exciting?
No, it was not. From small acorns grow mighty oaks, as they say, and I wouldn't say. But it's just, this is really a story that you should definitely talk to Tad about. He was much more involved with the evolution and the beginning of EuRA than I was. EuRA was initially started because the national associations across Europe wanted an umbrella association. So representatives came from different places, different organizations, Tad particularly from the Association of Relocation Professionals, which was the UK network at the time. So they all got together in Paris. They had a meeting, asked it to be EuRA, and Tad was employed to drive it forward, given that ARP already had the kind of structure in place as a not-for-profit with the Articles of Association and the Constitution and all the legal stuff that goes with it. So it was very easy to replicate into EuRA. I came on board at the same time when Tad developed this, just to do some editorial stuff. And then I left in 2001, came back to do my master's, came back in 2003, and really right from the get-go, thank you, Robert. He's saying EuRA special because it's clear about its purpose and supporting its members. That's exactly right. And across the years, that's been the primary mission of EuRA, has been to support the work of the destination service providers in any way that we can. And the evolution of that has been things like the development of the training academy, putting that all online, being able to run the conference as a more inclusive event that kind of has something in it for everybody to learn from and to be part of. But the EuRA members, they're so nice that, Robert, you say how they supported its members during the pandemic was amazing. Robert is a great example of a brilliant member of the EuRA family. These are amazing people. EuRA has got the most brilliant members in the world, and they have been unbelievably supportive, not just now, but over the 24 years that we know, more than that, 25 years that we've been going. It's grown. The first conference was in Barcelona. There were 100 people, and it's grown and grown. I mean, I do remember in those early years of running the conference, Tad and I were kind of looking at the numbers and going, oh my gosh, this isn't going to break even. We need more people. We need more people. And now we're looking at those numbers going, oh my gosh, we've got too many people and there are 100 people on the waiting list. And what are we going to do? We try.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that because it's so incredibly popular. I know dozens of people who want to attend who unfortunately won't be able to register. Have you thought about expanding it? And tell me your thoughts around that.
It's a really, really good point. So we've talked about this for many years in the EuRA board. There are two big factors to this. The first is, over the years that we've been running this event, members have come back to us at the end and said, please don't make it bigger. It's already quite difficult to network. It's already difficult. This is when we were like 450, 500 people. But as the associations got more global, so that demand has just got bigger. So we're in this strange kind of dilemma between how much bigger can we make it without kind of ruining the essence of what it is, which is somewhere where people find that they can still join and be productive in terms of being able to meet people. So, you know, technology solutions like the app is great because that enables people to find each other much more efficiently. The other issue that we've got is, you know, we come to the, you know, the IAM and the WERC conferences, and they are amazing. And the scale in the US and North America is beyond what we can do here. The only way that we can really make it bigger would be to move into convention centers. And members have told us year on year on year, please don't do that, because all of the networking gets done in the hotel bar. I mean, that genuinely is when you set up to do a live broadcast, that's where you want to be.
That's where I want to be.
That's the traffic place, right?
Yep.
So there is this real tension between, if we move into a convention center, you lose the intimacy that you have in a hotel. But as I'm sure you know, there are very few hotels in Europe that have space for more than 600 or 700 people. That tends to be the maximum. We've come across a few that can go up to 800, but in terms of the venues that we have available, and the other thing is, of course, we've never been to the same place twice. So we're always looking for new hotels in new cities that can accommodate us. So we are, unfortunately, limited to the venues that give us. But that then enables us to keep the event to 700. So if that's what our delegates and the EuRA family want, we'll try and do it.
Yeah, you said you never go to the same place twice.
Never been.
Does that mean the same city or the same hotel twice?
Very good question. The same city. We've never been to a city twice.
Because I thought Dubrovnik was an interesting choice. I was like, Dubrovnik, I didn't know, you know, because that was what a few years ago, right?
That was.
And
that
I was
was
like,
18.
but it makes sense if you've never been in the same city twice. That it really does challenge you to kind of get outside of the core markets. I mean, we see that in the US, right? Where you get these conference cities, right? And it bounces around from Chicago, DC, Vegas, Dallas, and kind of does a circuit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't. And I mean, again, we are very fortunate that because for whatever reason, we're on the map of kind of conference organizations. So we get a lot of emails through saying, we're just opening a new property here. This one might be big enough for you. You're right, Robert. So it feels like we've been to Seville for the last 3 years. That's so true. That's so true. But it is Dubrovnik was, you know, I spend a lot of time just looking at venues and hotels and thinking that would be nice. And then, so we go to Dubrovnik to do the site visit with the board, and it's the most beautiful, beautiful hotel. I mean, you walk into the lobby and all you can see is the Azure Sea. It's stunning. But then we're miles out of the city. You know, we're a good 25 minutes in a cab from Dubrovnik. And then you worry about the fact that we're going to be corralling people into one place and they will not like it because they won't be able to get out. But you know what? Everybody loved that place. So it's a real kind of like balance of, is there enough here? Will this be a venue that people will like? Are we close to, are there other hotels nearby that people can stay in if they don't want to spend, the conference rate, whatever. So it's a real balance.
Tad's saying this will be the 5th attempt.
What
does he mean by that?
Okay, so originally we were scheduled for May the 5th, I think, to the 8th in 2020. So then on March, Tad would know the date, but the week before lockdown was in the UK, a board meeting was scheduled in Seville. That was scheduled a year before. And so that board meeting became we now need to negotiate with all the venues we know we have to cancel. Or postpone. We never said cancel, so we're going to move it forward. So then it got moved forward to we knew we weren't going to run it later in 2021. We were still hoping, 2020. We were still hoping we would run the global in Costa Rica at the end of the year. So we pushed the big conference back into March of 2021. And then it got to the second lockdown here in Europe in the December. So then we moved it to, Tad, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, I think we moved it to June then. And then there was another lockdown. And we moved it again then to March of 2022. And then Omicron hit in December. And the hotel came back to us and said, we've had a cancellation and we can now do May, end of May, beginning of June. Does that work for you? And we're like, yes, please. That works brilliantly. we'll take it. And so fifth attempt.
Wow, fifth time's a charm. That's what I always say.
Seriously.
Well, no, I mean this is incredible. And Tad says there's still a waiting list today. How many people are on the waiting list right now?
It's a lot smaller than it was. I think we're up to about, I think we've got about 20 people now left that we're pretty certain we'll be able to accommodate. What's so interesting about this one, Ben, is that it's incredibly fluid up to the last minute because things are changing. You know, I mean, again, for our delegates coming in from the US, for our members coming in from the US, such as yourself, you know, you have to test now before coming back to the US, and that is, you know, that's a psychological barrier. I completely understand that. Should that change, then we will do our very best to make sure that you know, our North American members will be accommodated. We'll do our very, very
yeah. So there will be no wasted spots. That's good. To squeeze everybody in that we can. Let me ask you about you go to a lot of conferences and there's an exhibit hall. How do you handle exhibitors, sponsors? What are your thoughts and philosophies around that? I've never
really, yeah. Well, so thank you. I mean, so the exhibitions hall is very small. I mean, in comparison with the trade shows that we go to, you know, in North America, it's a very small exhibition space. I think we have 20 stands. Again, it's this thing about space within venues. It's quite difficult, again, to find a venue. But to be honest, EuRA's never really been a trade show on that basis. I mean, again, it's so amazing. I go to the WERC and that is a fantastic trade show. I mean, it's huge, and and the CERC in Canada, they also have a great trade show. They punch way above their weight. EuRA, we have kept it small. We've had very, very, very loyal sponsors and exhibitors over the last 10 years. We're incredibly grateful for their support because, again, as a not-for-profit, everything that they can put into the conference means that we can do a better conference for the rest of the delegates. We can spend more money on nicer venues, better gala dinner menus, particularly good, better wine, always very important. So
it sounds like we have our priorities in order, and this sounds like you're being a good steward of EuRA dollars out there, choosing proper wine. This is great. I want to hear from people watching. Hit that like button, send a little heart out there to the UK, to Dom. He probably needs it. He's been, you know, pulling his hair out for 3 years trying to get this thing scheduled 5 different times. So it's finally happening. He probably feels like a bride before the wedding right now. So send a little heart, a little love out to Dom. Also, give me your ideas. I want to know what your thoughts are. If you've ever been to EuRA, let me know what I can expect. Give me some tips as a first timer. Yeah. Dino's got a question. This is a dream scenario right here. Dino says maybe we could do a EuRA in the US. Is that blasphemous?
Do you know what? We would absolutely love to, but we work so well with Lynn Shotwell and the team at WRC. They're the masters of the US conference. We wouldn't step on their toes. We do in most years we do a drinks reception alongside WRC, usually on the Thursday night. And we're still trying to work out the logistics of that for Las Vegas at the moment, but we hope to do something. But yeah, I mean, I would love it. Any excuse to go into the US, and I'm there.
Well, I you know, we could talk about that. Is this like the mafia where they don't come over to your side, you don't go over to their side, and there's like an agreement? You know what I mean? Like kind of, hey, I'm just kidding. Sure. Richard's enjoying the talk about EuRA. People are getting so excited. Jamie, shout out to Jamie Master. Check in. Shout out to all my US folks who got a little caught off guard by the time here. We're coming to you a little early. This is a special UK time. Jamie says EuRA is on my bucket list. Cheers from sunny and hot Mississippi. Jamie, why do you want to go to EuRA? Why is it on your bucket list? I'd love to know. Jana saying, I know Richard's just getting more and more excited about it. He says, where is the line regarding attendees? So no suppliers such as technology, etc. Who attends? Are there requirements, Dom? How do you vet these crazy people that are trying to come party with you?
In a word, we don't. The conference is open to everybody. The major distinction with our conference is that it is open to anybody who would like to come. The difference is members pay a far reduced fee. So if you're attending as a member of EuRA, the fee is much lower. And Richard, where is the line? No suppliers such as technology. No, we do have suppliers. I think we have 3 different tech suppliers coming to the conference this year. They're very well. This is, do you know, it's really interesting that you say that, because it kind of polices itself. There is a genuine atmosphere of fairness and equality at the conference, and you would very quickly kind of become known if the sales pitch was too much, or do you know what I mean? It's quite a subtle event, and everybody, we all need tech. All of our DSPs are working with HHG, our DSPs are working with RMCs, our DSPs are working with immigration suppliers. So, there is a real synergy between suppliers and our members themselves. So actually, it works very well and it polices itself. And long may it do so.
Love it there. Louise says, EuRA is the most friendliest conference who wants to help everyone. That's awesome. You mentioned equality. You mentioned these concepts of this community, and you've mentioned a couple times, the fact that it's a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
What does a nonprofit mean in the European sense, and how does that influence the way that you conduct your business?
It's how EuRA was set up. It's kind of in EuRA's DNA that it was a not-for-profit. It's the basic, which is the same as it would be in North America, is that any profits that are made must be held accountable to be plowed back into services or products that services or functions that members can access. So we tend to plow our profits into the education program. That's really key. We're trying to elevate that to not just be education in terms of relocation. We have a whole program. It's all on the website. Managing international mobility. It's all behind me. We've structured that so far to be very much relocation mobility focused. We'd like to broaden that out and bring in other topics, leadership, a global leadership program, something like that. So that's where what not-for-profit really means is we have to justify to our board and to our members at the annual general meeting what we have spent EuRA's profits on. Now, obviously, for the last 3 years, like any organization in this space, we haven't made a profit. But we have been so incredibly blessed to have had the support. When COVID hit, like everybody else, we sat down and we did all the financial planning that we possibly could to try and work out, EuRA has to stay not-for-profit. We have a surplus fund to back up a risk assessment that says what happens if something happens and members can't afford to pay. What does that mean for the association? What do we do? So we put that into place and were incredibly grateful, delighted, and surprised that the members just stayed with us, and that speaks volumes.
Well, they didn't only stay with you. I mean, they're beating down your door to participate. I mean, all I can hear is people. I'm actually surprised that there's only 100 people on the wait list. I imagine there's a lot of people that just felt like maybe they just weren't going to get in, and so they didn't even try. I feel like the demand is such that you could have 1,000 people plus there.
And it's so interesting because then, well, you'll see. I'd be really interesting to sit down and talk to you about this when the conference is done, or at least when it's through, just to have your opinion as a first timer as to whether it would lose something or whether you feel it would be advantageous by growing. It'd be really interesting to have that conversation.
And I'm going to reserve judgment until I experience it, right? Yeah. And I probably don't even know that my perspective is valid until maybe I've experienced it a couple of times and have the feeling of the longtime members who have been going. I mean, I'm an American, right? So more is more, right? It's always, for those, bigger is better, more is more, right? But I think there's a lot of wisdom in controlled growth. I think that there's a lot of wisdom in listening to your community and your base and playing to your base and listening to those people, because when you look at really big conferences, there's always a fringe 5 to 20% of people that are kind of testing it out. They're not really committed to the community. They're gonna maybe sponsor an exhibit 1 year and have a big presence, and then the next year you don't see them anymore. And it's kind of confuses some things. Now, the flip side of that is also true that people want things to stay the same, and businesses and associations and communities can never stay the same, or they're, if you're not growing to some degree, you're dying, right? And so you have to always have a little bit of newness, and you have to prune the bush a little bit and let it grow, right? And so I think it's a very tough balance. So I'd love to discuss it with you. It's
Yeah, I
fascinating.
would do. And that's a very, really valid, very wise points there. And, one of the things that we tried to do when we, our president, will be 7 years now ago, Anita Meyer at the time, her goal during her presidency was to make sure that EuRA was inclusive to the global members. We run this big event in Europe every year, but what are we doing? Are we reaching out to the global members? And so we started the global conference with the idea we wanted to represent everybody, but also with the idea that that conference might take the numbers off the big one, so that more people, do you see what I mean? That we would be able to reduce the numbers on the big conference and not have such a strong waiting list. And what actually happened was people just came to both, which is fantastic. I mean, that's just wonderful. But it didn't reduce the numbers. But we are now able to go out into the world and represent the global members, which is great, and they really appreciated it.
Yeah, I think that once those bloody Americans find out about this amazing conference you have, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm about to ruin it. I'm gonna be honest with you, Dom. I'm about to ruin it. I'm gonna show up. We're gonna go live. People are gonna get so excited about it, and you're gonna be like, Ben, you're never allowed to come back again. And we're going down to 600 people next year because it's just outrageous. And I'm just warning you. This is what's gonna happen. I mean, look, Yvette over here says, I wish we were global so I could attend because Seville is my favorite city.
Oh, Yvette, is it really? It is a stunning city.
Yvette, why don't you just go on like a fact-finding mission? It's like, I know we're not there yet, but I want to do a little R&D. I want to go out and see if we were supposedly, if we were theoretically to go. Yvette runs global mobility and amongst many other things over at, I believe it's Public Supermarkets. Great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's another thing. And you mentioned this earlier, you mentioned this is a supplier community.
Yes.
And it's so fascinating to me because every other association I talk to, well, not so much IAM, but every other association from a mobility standpoint is very focused on getting corporate mobility managers in the room, elevating them, giving them awards, putting them on panels.
Sure.
Why is that not the focus for EuRA? And how does it still work without that corporate emphasis?
That is such a good question. And in all honesty, so EuRA was set up with the precise remit of being the supplier organization. So the strands of membership in EuRA, full membership, supplier membership, are geared towards relocation providers. So our conference, we would be delighted to have corporate representation at our conference, but it doesn't hit that marker. It hits the marker for the suppliers, and it's such a good question because so much work is done between suppliers. But on the other hand, for the first time this year, we're running working with direct clients symposium. So this is a day of, it's on the Tuesday. It's a day of our members are split into quite an interesting demographic. So a lot of them work through the RMC third-party supply chain, but 50% of our members do 50% or more of their work with direct clients that they work with directly. So, a company in Frankfurt will represent banks and different companies in Frankfurt, and that'll be more than 50% of their work. So in a strange way, like you say, the other organizations, that corporate presence is incredibly important. We would love to have that, but it just didn't evolve that way.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it is I think there's so much value to having a supplier conference. And frankly, a lot of folks, not a lot, RMC salespeople complain that Worldwide ERC has evolved more into the supplier, into a supplier conference. Mm-hmm. And suppliers like, well, I mean, that's cool with me as long as you RMC buyers keep showing up. We're going to keep being here to network with you and build stronger partnerships. But of course, the RMCs, most people in the organization want to meet corporate partners. With the exception of supply chain. I think it's fascinating that there is a supplier conference where I, as a business development person or a principal, can go there and create these relationships with people who are there specifically to buy and partner. And I think that dynamic is going to be so different because when you go to other conferences, the customers hide they hide, they try to avoid, they don't make eye contact, they go to dinner with their little clique of friends, and they don't, they try not to meet people. But people are going into EuRA with the express purpose of meeting and forging partnerships, and I'm really enthused.
That's absolutely right. And I mean, certainly from the point of view of, again, when we survey our members at the end of the conference, we survey our members throughout the year and ask them, what they need from us as an association, from the conference. So much business to business work is done at EuRA that, for example, if somebody is managing some outbound work for a large corporate client in Edinburgh and they know the person that they sat together at the dinner with in Milan, they will work directly with that supplier in Milan. And that has happened over the 22 years, or the 22 conferences that we've run. That has become really important for the members, that they're able to say, okay, you're sending a heap of people to Milan, I can manage that for you. I will be your single point of contact because I know the supplier there.
Yes, and we have a trust there, and none of us can do any of this by ourselves, right? I mean, we can't administer global policies and be boots on the ground everywhere that our clients and their transferees and assignees are. So I think it's extremely wise. Richard always with a curveball here. Richard says, does the very name EuRA restrict based on Brexit? The world is our oyster. I don't understand. I guess he means the UK is a free agent now, and it can do whatever it wants.
Scary day that was. It is interesting, like you said about EuRA. It was set up to be the European Relocation Association, and we still, it still sits within the Articles of Association and the Constitution that, for example, at the moment, although we're seeking to make a change, the members of EuRA who vote for the board of EuRA are still those who are full members or within Europe. Well, that doesn't mean the EU, that means the 40 countries in Europe itself. So it is a really interesting point, Richard, that you raised. Does it restrict? At the moment, we're very blessed to have so much support from a global contingent of members, an ever-growing global contingent of members. So we will see. Watch this space was what I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And Richard goes on to say, because Richard's from the service department sector, and he's hearing a lot of positive feedback from service department sector saying this is a not to miss event.
That's really nice to hear. Thank you, Richard.
I'm hearing the same thing. I was actually at the Service Department Awards last week in London.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I got to get on stage twice, winning 2 awards with the Altavita team.
Fantastic.
Shout out to the Altavita. So I got my new tux, and I get to.
Excellent.
It was great. It was super awesome. Great. Okay, I got a question here. Ben Cross asks, will I get to wear my tuxedo at the event?
Do you know what? That's a very yes. Well, so there's a kind of dress code which is really self-enforced by the delegates themselves. So most of the time during the day, especially given it's going to be in Seville and it's going to be very warm, it's smart or casual business. I will be wearing chinos and a polo shirt for the whole of the event, except for the gala dinner, which is smart, but it's not formal. But if you want to be formal, you can. So anecdote, when we were in Stockholm, we did the gala dinner in this amazing venue called the Vasa Museum, it surrounds a ship, a 17th century galleon which sank in the sea. It was restored and they built this museum around it, and it's actually I think it's the #1 visited tourist attraction in Sweden. Fantastic place. Yeah. But it was cobblestones. And so and one of our members who I know very well, and who is a great friend, she came up to me and she said, I'm wearing Louboutins and I have ruined them on this floor. And I was like, sorry. And that's the kind of, so yes, people dress up for the gala. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I would be pissed if if I had my heel stuck in my Louboutin heel stuck in a wow, that's wow. Yeah, I could see that totally.
So we are quite careful. We ran it a few years back in Porto, and the party night was in the wine cellars of Taylor's Port, and they have like shingle is the surface, and so we just wrote to everyone and said, wear your training shoes, not your expensive stilettos.
Wear the trainers. People are enjoying this. This is great. I will probably not have sensible shoes on. I will probably be sweating like a crazy person, unfortunately.
And me. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question for you. So this is my first one, and I do like a nice party, Dom. All right.
Great.
nobody knows. This is a big secret I've been keeping for a long time. I like a nice party. And I was thinking about having a party or a reception, but I've seen so many social events scheduled already coming out. Is, seems like one a week's been coming out, maybe more. Is there room? Do you have any advice for me? Is there a slot where I could actually throw a party? Should I just focus on going to other people's party and drinking their fine wine, or should I endeavor to do something my own? What are your thoughts there? Curious.
I would suggest with this one, you're right. I mean, I don't think we've seen quite so many individual parties scheduled across the conference as we've seen this year. I think that's a combination of pent-up demand. People haven't seen each other for such a long time. So there's things happening Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, later Tuesday evening. There's another party after the welcome reception happening on Wednesday evening. The gala is everybody, so there's nothing else really going on. I mean, there might be people who won't be attending the gala, but it's very few. Mostly it'll be 700 people. And the Friday night party kicks off at, I think, 7:30. So that one's taken care of as well. So actually, and then there's a dinner on Sunday. There's a dinner on Monday. It's crazy. I would say this year, enjoy other people's spend and enjoy their fine wine, and we'll make sure that if you wanted to do something next year, we'll block a slot.
What do you think? So the gala, what do you think? Is there an after party for the gala? What do people normally do after the gala?
That's a very good question. So it depends. I mean, the gala is a dinner. So it's a big dinner, 700 people. It's in a fantastic venue this year. I won't spoil the surprise, but it's a great place. And yes, what tends to happen with the gala? Well, I don't know, because I have to go to bed early because I've got to get up really early on Friday morning. So I've never seen the end of the garden. But there are a lot of people looking distinctly weary on Friday morning. So, I mean, certainly from what I'm told, the bar of the hotel, we always tell them to stay open until the last person leaves. And it's usually late. So there doesn't tend to be an after party in another venue, but we have the buses on circulation to leave the gala dinner venue from about 10:30 to about 1 o'clock in the morning. And that bar gets busier and busier and busier.
So people leave the gala, which is off-site, and then they come to the hotel bar, and that's where they usually remain until they have to get up in the morning.
I would say that probably, given that this is Seville and the hotel is pretty close to the center of the old city, a lot of people may well after the gala. But interestingly enough, the Friday night party, which is in the center of the city at 5 a.m., Louis says that's brilliant. The gala, the party night's right in the center of the city. So after that, I mean, we have a disco, it's a proper dance, it's a dinner and a dance in an amazing location. But that's close enough for people to just walk into the center and really kind of like go to the flamenco bars and the clubs and the restaurants and stuff. So it's it'll be.
All right. Well, we may have to talk about that. I may want to do an after party or something and buy some drinks or something. I don't know. I don't want to detract from anybody else's thing, but if there's an opportunity, I do like to buy some drinks now.
Excellent. You're gonna love it. You're gonna have a great time.
I do. This is awesome. I'm so excited. People are just getting in the comments here. Hit that like button right now. Send a little love out there to Dom. Look at this. Sarah says, 5 a.m. Starting what at 5 a.m.? Starting to go to bed? What are we doing at 5 a.m.?
Just go to bed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sarah saying, is there a restriction on the size of company who attends, or is the cost the restriction? Example, for a little family business from the UK.
Sarah, very good question. We have kept the prices of the conference low as we possibly can for, oh golly, I can't remember the last time we put them up. I think we did put them up in 2018. So the base price for attendance at EuRA is 500 euros for a member, and that covers the entire conference. So given, when we benchmark against other events, we try and keep it as low as possible because we know that our core members are smaller SMEs, and our DSP members who are SMEs, we need to make sure that they are able to attend. So it isn't just the really, really wealthy companies that are able to come. So don't let that hold you back. For a little old family business from the UK, you're our core membership. And we will keep the hotel cheap as well, if we can.
Yes, as you can, right. And I do like that, because as you deal with different countries with different, scales, right, and different, the economic inequalities, let's just be honest, right, with different regions. And you want to make sure everybody can attend. I think that's fantastic. Louise says, Ben, will you be up for karaoke? If so, you will get an invite. Send it, Louise. Send it. Let's go. Oh, look, now Dino says, hey, what about me, Louise? I can sing. I can carry it too. I can carry that. All right. Very good, Dino. Dino's been threatening me with the mafia visiting my home. You know, that's really, really nice, Dino. Real nice, real classy, Dino. Just kidding. No, this is fun. I can already tell I'm gonna love the community.
I really hope to.
Super exciting. Do we want to give any kind of a final thought, a final word to those out there who are maybe going to EuRA for the first time, or maybe are longtime attendees? Maybe you leave us with a final thought.
If you're coming for the first time, then make the most of. I mean, we have a mentoring program. We have the newcomers reception. Make the most of that. Come and meet the team. Come and meet the board. Come and meet the people who've been coming for years and years and years. One thing that we really try to build in is that it's incredibly easy, as you know, Ben. You go to conferences all over the place, and you get there and you know people, and you've been going for 10 years, and it that can feel as an outsider to be quite off-putting, because there's everybody, they all know each other, it's hugging, and I haven't seen you in 3 years, and it's going to be crazy this year because it's been such a long time. So we try to make sure that people don't feel like that. So really, if you're a first timer, go up to someone and say, I've not been before. You've got a mentorship badge on. Tell me what I should do. Who should I go and speak to? This is what I need to achieve from this event. Who do I go and talk to? Come and find me. Come and find Tad. Come and find any of the team, and we will try our very, very best to make you feel welcome. For the people who've been coming for many, many years, I think this year, because we've not been together for such a long time, will feel particularly special. I was talking to Sophie King, who's our immigration consultant and who's been running some fantastic sessions for us on Ukraine. And she was saying, I think I'm going to cry from the time I arrive in Seville to the time I leave, because it's going to feel so emotional. And I think there is a part of that. We're getting together for the first time in such a long time, and it's going to be good. Yeah, I can. I've not even gone to a EuRA conference, and I feel the love, and I feel what you're saying there. People are just so excited. There's karaoke plans being made. People RSVP and RSVP in the chat. Louise will send you an invite. It's going to get messy. Just throwing out there. Don't wear your red bottoms. It's going to get messy. Don't wear your Louboutins now.
This is fantastic. I cannot wait, Dom, to see you in 2 weeks, you and Tad and the whole EuRA family. I can't wait to be there with you in person at EuRA in Seville.
We're really looking forward to seeing you. Come find me when you arrive. And like I say, we'll try, and I hope that we haven't raised your expectations to a level where you're going to be disappointed.
No, I know they won't be. I know I won't be disappointed. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to do some live broadcasts and really kind of show people kind of what it's all about and give people that feeling and that love and that community. Dom, thank you so much for your time today. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much, Ben.
And thanks everybody who tuned in. We couldn't have a show without you. So hit that like button, throw some comments in, tag somebody that needs to see this. If you're excited about EuRA, throw it in the comments. I can't wait to see you all there. Take care, everyone, and we will see you